What's up, everyone? Today we have a Stormcat generator, which, if I'm not mistaken, is sold at Harbor Freight. Even gives you a little helpful guide on what you can run on it. That's cool. Anyway, and the person that gave it to me said that they just don't know what's wrong with it. They were pulling and pulling and pulling until eventually this happened, and from there they just kind of put it aside. Got another one, which oddly enough is right over there. So who knows how old this has been since or how old the fuel is in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the cover and get the pull cord situated. Sure, we'll have to do the carburetor because that's what usually ends up happening with these, but let's at least get the pull cord going. Beforehand, we might just see if it even has compression. This is a 2-cycle, so there's no oil except for the fuel. It even says so on the cap. But who knows, maybe that's the reason why it stopped. You never know. So let's go ahead and get that set up and get prepared to start working. This is a pretty cheap machine, but it has its purposes. It's a 800 watt (900 watt) peak with a 6.5 amps, it says on there, or it says do not at least exceed that. So it's not a powerhouse, to say the least, but I think these are like $110 or $20 or maybe even just $100 at Harbor Freight. I'm missing out. There is one down there. So it's not like something tells me when they gave me this that was not the right one. Okay. So it's what we expected, just broken. Let's give this a whirl. Yeah, it has compression. Okay. That's good. I disconnected the spark plug, by the way, even though it's probably not going to start. Do you really want to take that chance? I don't. Let's see here. Is the recoil broken at all? Whoa. No, but it's very sticky. Let's take a look at it. Unfortunately, I think we do have to take off the whole mechanism. I can't really get to the inside to tie anything, so actually, before we do anything like that, we want to make sure there's no spring tension on this at all. Just feels very sticky. Oh man, I'm really hoping this doesn't just go sprung. That's what makes it move. Okay. I never had one of these apart before. It's interesting. So, do we pull this up? Okay, I think the spring is okay. Good, it is. Ooh, man, there's some grease in here. It's pretty long, actually. kind of wondering if I even want to replace it. It is kind of frayed, however. I mean, this is pretty decent, but it broke for a reason. Yeah, let me get a piece of pull cord. Went through a bucket of handles I kind of take from broken machines, and this one should be adequate, I hope. Got this all prepared. This might be easier to go through the top. Come on. Maybe a little assistance is needed. I like to keep the broken line because you're inevitably going to get, if you ever sell anything, that person who borrows their friend's truck and doesn't remember to bring tie downs of any type, and they're just saying there like, oh, what should I do? And then, being a nice person that you are, you remember, hey, I have like 30 feet of broken pull cord that I've kept. I'll give them like 2 or 3 pieces, they could tie it down, and now you just seem like that person. So that's why I keep it. So we want to wrap this around. Now, one would think that a longer cord would be better, but sometimes it can be so long that it actually becomes a problem. Don't be that problem. So hopefully I can hold that there for a little bit while we put this back on the spring. Okay, I think we got it. Let's put this back on there too. This little piece has to go on there. That way when it opens up, it can. What a horrible fit. Oh, that's why. That's better. Like I said, this is a pretty cheap machine, so I'm not going to expect a whole lot. I will say they are kind of nice. I mean, they're kind of cool. I mean, that's not every day you run across a 2-cycle generator. Granted, it is from Harbor Freight, so you know, probably get what you pay for. I've worked on a handful of these. They seem to range in between like 600 and 700 watts, all the way up to about 12 to 1500 watts. Where'd those helpers go? I put them back. Might have to trim this a little bit anyway. We do not want to let go of this. Otherwise, we have to refeed it through. When you torch the end of it, it can get a little big. So sometimes you have to kind of trim it off. Let's see if that worked. If not, we'll have to persuade it a little more. We're going to need a little bit more persuasion. There we go. The knot that I use is simple. Under, around, under again and through and pull. Probably has a name. I don't know what it is. I'd call it the knot I use for pull cords. Okay, I'm going to put this on, and then we'll put a little fuel down the spark plug hole and see if this will run. Something I noticed when I was putting that on and I decided to give it a quick pull, it seems really gummy inside. So let's take a look. It's not rusty. What we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of Marvel. That's Marvel mystery oil. We're going to put it down this spark plug hole. Not a lot, but you know, a few drops. And let's give it a pull very slowly. Kind of let that coat the cylinder wall a little bit. Okay, now that's done. Since there's already oil in there and everything, let's just put a little cheat spray of a little bit of that in there. I don't like these plugs, but we'll replace that when we know what we have here. It's like a Torx or whatever it is. Wouldn't surprise me if you looked at the manual, it says replace it with NGK, but do they give you NGK? No. Okay, let's put you in a safer place. Let's see what happens. That was uneventful. Okay, so I think it will run. I think now, if it was going to run on the fuel that's in there, it would have ran. Let's take off the carburetor and see what we have in there. First off, we have this little cover here. It has a couple screws in there to hold it in place. Let's just take those off. So the front's very simple. We have one outlet, which is odd because I'm pretty sure this outlet that's here is meant for 20 amps. I don't know, not an electrician, but I'm pretty sure that those are meant for 20 amps. Whatever. Pretty sure those are more expensive too. Okay, we have an air filter, which this has no oil in it whatsoever. And that's usually not a good thing. For that style of air filter, at least. And let's take off this plate. Okay. Something tells me those are the mounting screws for the carb. Hopefully this whole thing just slides off. The outlet's probably going to give us a problem. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the outlet's giving us a hard time right now. Can we take out this? take off the tank real quick. It's just 4 screws on the side from the looks of it. Looks like there's a screw on the top, so we're going to take that off and go ahead and do that. Hopefully we can gain access. Something to kind of bring up is a capacitor and a generator, or pretty much any capacitor actually, can be a pretty dangerous thing. Even though you don't know if it's charged or has anything, hasn't been used for a while, who knows. You don't really want to take that chance. So if you're going to be anywhere near the electrical components on a generator, try to find the capacitor if it even has one, but don't want to electrocute yourself. That goes for all electronics. Like capacitors, there's like a million different types. Some are big, some are small, some look like diodes. Well, maybe not diodes, but either way, there's 1,000 different styles. This tank. 1,000 different styles, so always be careful when working around electrical components like that, because you just don't know. You don't want to be that one unlucky person. The fuel's off, but it's also on the floor. That fuel line is pretty haggard too. We'll have to change that. Okay, let's take it to the carb station. Here's the funny part. I was thinking back on it, and I'm like, yeah, the fuel is shut off. Wouldn't this be funny if the fuel shut off was the reason why I wasn't running? I don't think so anymore. Well, I don't think that. I still think it's funny, but I don't think that's the reason what we have going on here. Let's see. Oh, that smells horrible. Yeah, definitely not the reason why we have going on here. That is old. Look at that. Now I'm glad I used my slightly used towel. Is the needle not coming out? Just give it a couple twists. That usually helps it. Don't want to bend it. There we go, got it. Oh yeah, that's disgusting. So, this has a jet on the side. I don't think the emulsion tube is removable. Whenever that occurs, usually it's not unless you see a slit in there. I don't see a slit on the emulsion tube at all. So I'm assuming it just pressed in there. That seems like it'd be a cheaper way of making it. I could be wrong, but, it will take time to cut threads in both the brass and the aluminum. I would imagine cutting the threads on the emulsion tube is going to be a little bit more of a difficult endeavor. I'm not a machinist, but one time I did. Those threads didn't work out very well. We have to take this off. So we're going to take our needle nose. Knowing that this was going to happen, I got my ultrasonic cleaner ready. And while you may not have an ultrasonic cleaner, a can of carb spray and a little elbow grease will go pretty far. However, if you do use carb spray. Make sure to take the seal off. That will be the quickest way to ruin that seal. It'll expand and you'll never get it back on. Okay, I'm going to put this in the cleaner and bring you back. Here we go. That doesn't look very clean. So I took that off. So I'm not too afraid of damaging anything. Put a little carb spray in there. Let's take this. Night and day difference. There we go. Now, let us put the needle and everything back together. A little crunchy. I'm just going to take off what's on there. There we go. Oh yeah, it's already functioning a lot better. Just give it a try. If you blow in here, this should not let air. If you have it right there, it will right here. Pretty good. Okay. Now, take a bristle from a brush. See if we have any. There we go. So that thing is packed, even after. Maybe we'll use a little air pressure. And we got through. Let's put a little bit of this on it. I should be wearing gloves, but it's very, very little. It's okay. There we go. Now that feels a whole lot better. Now let's use a little air. That's much better. I can see through it now. Hole looks nice and uniform. I don't want to sound like that person, but if your eyesight, whether it be just because it's a little poor to begin with or getting a little older, when you look at their jets, it makes it a whole lot easier if you can see the roundness of it, because even though you think it's clean, it might not be, and you could be chasing a whole lot of problems. So if you wear glasses, put your glasses on. I'm lucky where I don't have to yet. I ate my carrots. this back on. There we go. Then the bowl back on. Yes, you probably shouldn't be doing this, but it's my carb. That's a benefit of having a carb. If you want to use whatever tool you want to use, you can. Did I start it beforehand? Definitely don't want to cross-thread it. I don't want to do this whole willy-nilly. Took the liberty while I was cleaning to remove a fuel, and that's what came out of it. It's not fuel anymore. So I'm going to put this back on, replace the fuel line, and we'll give it a pull. Everything is done. Put a new fuel line, good new fuel in there. Fuel is on. Yeah. It did kind of leak out, but then it stopped. Took the carb off, dried it off. It appears to still be dry. So I think maybe the needle just was a little torqued or something. But it's dry now, so let's find out. We have it on. Where's the exhaust? There it is. Let's do this. Oh yes, if I remember correctly. These are notorious for needing to be warmed up a little bit. Okay. Kind of want to see what the output is. I got my meter on there. Let's see what we have. Okay, on. Now, it was a little smoky because we did put a decent amount of marble down there. Not horrible amounts, but decent. So this brings up an interesting conversation. That showed 470 watts and like 64 hertz, roughly, and it fluctuated greatly. It went to 67 and 61 and 64 and 67 and 61. The output on this generator is very dirty. It's just the nature of these style generators. So this whole meter is having a really hard time to really see exactly what it is. So, I mean, you can really look and see what's going on, look at the RPMs and kind of go from there. But this meter is not going to cut it. You're really going to want to get an RPM tack and kind of go from there. Problem is, while I do have one, this is not meant for delicate equipment. It's meant for like heaters, and right now idle is sitting at 64 hertz. I feel like that is a little high, so I'm going to lower it down to probably around 62, 61 and a half and call it good. I'm not even going to look at the volts because it's always going to be high with this style of generator until you put a load on it. And it only has one outlet, so testing it's going to be hard with a load. It's just going to be a giant pain. So I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a $100 generator. I'm going to sell it for like 60 bucks probably. It's going to be more than adequate to run some lights, heater, small heater, like the 750 watt heaters, and that's really about it. According to the sticker though, we can run 3/8 drill, 1/4 horsepower air compressor, 6 horsepower motor, fans, I suppose so, yeah. Battery charger, I don't think I'd want to do that. String trimmers, hedge trimmers, radio, 10 75 watt light bulbs. Okay, well, there you go. But yeah, so if you have a little Harbor Freight generator and it's not starting, or your pull cord ripped out, try doing this. Probably go running again. It's a pretty good little machine. They're pretty bulletproof, really. I've never really ran across one that's blown up yet. Fingers crossed. But that's about it. Catch me in the next video. Have a good night. Subscribe. Follow me on Small Engine 101 and Instagram. See you later. Bye.